Go!
Okay, so, Terrence, which weapon did you have readied? Joe?
Oh, sorry. It was a hell gun.
Okay, so you have the hell gun ready. Terrence and Malachi are currently at a standoff with Alexandra, while Shelby walks up to Daniette, puts her hand on Daniette, and suddenly Daniette's face stops swelling and actually goes back to normal. Nobody gives a fuck. Interesting.
Shelby being Shelby.
Terrence, I think you still have fate. Yeah, you still got 2 fate points. Did you want to re-roll? Just to avoid the Slanesh. So yeah, you definitely notice, considering your perception is, well, your first roll would have succeeded. Let me put it that way. So, Terrence, you notice. What are you doing about it? Terrence is pointing the gun at everybody in turn. This, however, will elicit a reaction from Talia, who is going to shout at Terrence that you are a soldier of Havictus. Do you have any idea who Shelby is and what she means to that man? And intimidation roll. And it's 1d1. Oops, god damn it. It's frozen? Oh, there it goes. Okay. 1d100.
As also, when Malachi notices this, I mean, she is yelling at Terrence. He will turn at Terrence and say, "For fuck's sake, Terrence, put the gun down."
If she was in any better condition, somebody might take advantage of that opportunity, but oh well.
Okay.
So Talia is going to say at this point, Alexandra, how well do you trust your 3 associates?
Alexander will finally turn to notice the 3 of them and go like, "Oh, well, considering what they just showed over there," and she just noticed that they finally grouped up on Terrence as soon as I started to get into a yelling match with Malachi. Go like, "Well, they seem pretty trustworthy there."
Very good then. Tyrion, I'm going to ask you, and I'm sorry I didn't catch all of your names, to take Daniette aside and keep an eye on her. Tyrion, I trust you to end Daniette's life if she appears to be a threat, and I'm going to trust you 3 to make sure that Tyrion remembers what the Inquisition is ordering her to do. And Tyrion's going to be all kind of huffy because she's a noble. She doesn't have to put up with this shit, but she's going to do it anyway. Is Malachi going to stop this from happening?
No, he would not.
Okay. Talia is going to say, at this point, we need to have a very serious talk about what's going on here, because some things are not adding up appropriately.
What do you mean?
Agreed.
Daniette is certain the Inquisitor is alive. Now, some of you may know this thing, some of you don't. Ulysses Dashimer was the Inquisitor in charge of Daniette and Mikaison's team over 25 years ago. based on knowledge that I possess, I am aware of the fact that Ulysses Dashhammer is dead. And we have reason to believe that it was Mikaisen who did it. Daniette never said his name. In fact, never even mentioned a gender. Kept saying the Inquisitor. There's a chance that another Inquisitor has taken over Dashhammer's cadre. And Talia looks extremely frustrated as she admits to this possibility.
Is there any possibility that this could be Mikaisen, to put it bluntly, is having mental difficulties?
Well,
and he's managed to lull the entire ship into his dementia.
That's what I was...
As a GM, I'm sure you're loving this.
So,
that's what Malachi also would have said. Basically, just asked that, how do you know that Mikaisen hasn't gone so crazy with the power that he insists of being called Inquisitor by these people?
Because of the nature of the other two team members. One of which, according to my reports, is so close to Daniette that he could potentially die for her. And we're very fortunate that he didn't witness what we're doing to her, which is why I, told us to get indoors to make sure he wouldn't accidentally stumble upon us. His name is Anton Gallo. Anyways, that aside, Anton Gallo.
I know that man.
Yes, and Cassandra. I'm not even going to try to pronounce her last name. It's like 20 words long. Daniette, I could see falling for it. The other two, no. The other two are too intelligent for that. And Cassandra loved Dashhammer like a father, according to my reports. So if Mikaisen... She seems so frustrated. She's like on the cusp of some great revelation, but she can't figure it out. As for Shelby, that role, you are aware that there are actually numerous Inquisitors operating in this sector. You don't have an exact number. You do know that there's a conclave that is run by 3 lords, basically. Well, technically 5 lords. There is one who is in charge of the Ordo Malleus for the sector, one in charge of the Ordo Xenos for the sector, and triplets who are in charge of Ordo Hereticus for the sector. I could get you their names, but I'd have to pull up the paperwork on that. If anybody knows what the fuck is really going on, it would hopefully be the triplets who are in charge of Ordo Hereticus. Because, well, Havictus and Mikaisen's buddies are all under the Hereticus umbrella.
Mikaisen quit. Oh.
Vidar is not one of the lords. Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if you were serious about that, but no, Vidar was not one of the 5 lords in charge of the Quitus Ruborian sector conclave of the Inquisition. So, it's a whole flustercluck, as it were, if some other Inquisitor stepped in and picked up Dashhammer's slack. But all that happened before Shelby was even born. So that's really not something she has any personal knowledge on. Just basically conversations she's overheard at home.
I'm going to Inquisitor Dashimer. You reports say he died. Did they ever have a body to autopsy or anything like that?
I'm not privy to that knowledge. I only know that the Conclave has the report stating Dashimer is dead.
Okay. And this is a long shot. Did you know is there any rumors or any knowledge you have of anybody that Dashimer had any other Inquisitor he had close ties with that may have taken over his operations in case of his demise?
Dashimer was well liked, but I don't know of any close associates. Kind of, not before my time, but I was very young at the time, so it was all just happening when I first came to be part of Havictus cadre. That's going to give Talia a moment of pause as she just kind of rolls her tongue in her mouth kind of agape, thinking maybe.
Okay, well, the clear thing we gotta think of is whether Mikaisen is crazy or not, he is still sending any force he can bring to bear against Havictus to protect himself from Havictus's wrath away from him.
No. Okay, actually, you're right. It could just be a ploy, but still, some things don't add up about the psych profiles that I have on the team members that work with Mikaisen. That Daniette thinks that an Inquisitor is still alive suggests we don't have enough information. We need to get Cassandra, Anton, or preferably Mikaisen himself. Right, the governor. Do we believe that Daniette was given correct information in regards to the governor?
Maybe I can find out once I access these encrypted files.
Mm-hmm.
So at the moment, our current mission is still the same. We have to find Mikaisen, but now we have to find him before Havictus finds him.
No. We need to find Havictus and Mikaisen.
What I think Alex means is that if we find Mikaisen, it'll make it much easier for us to find Havictus, because Havictus will be hot on Mikaisen's tail.
Possibly.
And if we can find Mikaisen, we can get an idea of exactly how this massive information clusterfuck can be maybe organized, or at least some way to figure it out.
Mikaisen is the linchpin. There's no argument there. Trios, you've been kind of quiet.
It's a difficult situation because there is nothing we can trust. We have no information. We only have the word of potentially a heretic's right-hand, well, not right-hand man, but one of their close lackeys. We are in a very precarious situation.
At the moment, the only people we can trust are the people here with us right now. And I'm going to turn to Malachi and Terrence and look at them and just go like, can we trust you two to at least try to figure out the truth of all these matters without smiting Mikaisen down or making the situation worse?
Oh, dear. Oh, dear. You're just doubting Malachi.
At the moment, Alexander sees Malachi as nothing more than a rage machine.
He has lost his temper only once. Otherwise, he has been calm as a fucking iceberg.
But he's a zealot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much what's been coming across strongly.
Yeah, it is.
Well, be that as it may, we are stuck with them for now. I'm sure they don't trust us any more than we trust them.
So there you are, correct.
Chris will smile at Alexander and go, see, he's a reasonable man. Yes. If only Chris was psychic so he could reply. I'm going to try and decipher all that stuff now, see if I can find anything useful.
Right. Talia will again offer to help with the decryption.
Mother of fucking shit bollocks! I'm going to use my last rate. I want to do tech well. This is my jam.
Okay. As you two work on that, I'm going to go speak to Daniette.
So this is like fucking 70. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, Alexandra apparently wants to go talk to Daniette. Malachi, Shelby, Garrett.
I'm trying to think how he would act that.
Are you going to stop her or not?
Not as much as stop, but basically just step in front of him and remind her that he will know if she does something that he wouldn't approve.
Okay. So, Krios and Talia, you work on the decryptions, and it looks like the log auto-deletes after a short duration, but you can at least retrieve a few of the last communiques. Basically, each time the communication was sent, there was a message going out from Daniette, and then a reply coming in, or a message coming in and Daniette replying out. Anytime that it was Daniette sending the message out, about half of those were getting replies back from what you can triangulate as the direction of the central hive governor's tower. For those messages that were inbound, there seems to be a scattering of different locations that the inbound messages were coming from. And several of the outbound messages that she had sent and got replies to also scattered around. But give me a navigation roll for your tech forwards. I can feel the rage, even though there's not a word coming out of your mouth.
I'd like to roll under 60 today, apart from that one roll I just did.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's the way games go.
Because of the three-dimensional nature of the hive, you have some difficulty actually plotting the map appropriately with the signals.
All right, well, so she's sending messages to one place and getting multiple messages back from different places.
Oh, no. I say half the messages that were outbound got replies from the governor's tower. The other half were the same as all the inbound messages she replied to, which were just scattered around.
Well, it's pretty safe to assume then that it's either Machiason or twat bollocks. I forget his name. The guy I really don't
Anton.
like. Yes, thank you. How did you know?
Trap bollock.
Twat bollocks, yeah. I would recommend we head to the Governor's Palace. And then if anyone else has any other helpful courses of action, I don't see what else we can do.
Indeed.
Well, we should just double check to see if we have any other final questions for Daniette. And then the really tough question comes up. What do we do with her? Because if she's telling the truth, I'm going to feel really fucking awful, really rotten if we end up killing her and she ended up telling the truth.
So what if she's right? She's still been serving Machias and assisting in all of his endeavors.
On that matter, we don't have the jurisdiction to. What would be the word? Judge her. That would fall under Havictus's purview.
And Shelby, we can't trust her. Like I said, the Anton Gallo fellow has a very deep connection with Daniette. And if he spots us escorting her through the city, you can expect that he won't make the mistake she did in falling for, well, she's not here right now, but Alexandra did a very good job of talking Daniette down at first. I think Daniette's a little more stubborn than that, Shelby. And Malachi is right. It is not our right to judge her. We are going to have to leave her here, explain to the clerics of this church that it is imperative that they do not let her get away, that they do not let her visit the bathroom. She can soil herself, and they can pour water on her head to keep her alive. Havictus is sending someone to this church eventually. We just tell the clerics to notify whoever it is that shows up that one of the throne agents has been captured and imprisoned here.
It's as simple as this. If we leave her here, she will escape.
No, I'm
Just get her drunk as that Harry is.
Honestly, that's a good idea.
I have information on her training, her personality, her dossier. She is a soldier. I know, Terrence, you have personal objection to that, but Daniette, through and through, is someone who's been trained to shoot and not ask questions. She's not wily. She's not creative. Her chances of escape, negligible. And hey, actually, you know what? She will reach into her robes. She'll pull out a microbead and she'll hand that over to Krios and say, "Turn that into a tracking device. If she leaves the church, then we know that something's up."
And if she's hammered to the core, she can't even move.
When you say hammered, do you actually mean your base or alcohol?
Drunk.
Well, you saw her. She couldn't keep away from the fucking flask.
And there is some holy wine in the building. I suppose that's an option. Just keep her inebriated.
Well, I will trust you in this. I don't like you particularly, but I will trust you. I'd just like to say, if she does escape and we have the tracking beacon on her and we happen to be the other side of the city, it's not going to do us much good.
Yeah, but at least we'll be able to give that tracking signal to Havictus, hopefully, and he can send a more appropriate attack.
Yes.
What is our other option? We kill her here?
Well, that was my original plan.
I'm sorry, Krios, but I could not have that on my conscience if what she says is true about the governor.
And the fact still remains that we don't have the jurisdiction to judge her to death. That is Havictus's job as an inquisitor to decide.
I have a personal beef with Mikaisen, and I won't shed any tears if he dies, no matter how many Zinchian cultists he personally brings down. But Daniette, at most, is a pawn, and at worst, we've actually gone and interfered with a major salvation operation versus one of the most insidious, horrific cults there are.
Well, like I said, I will trust you on this matter. I think your judgment is a lot clearer than mine.
Thank you, Krios. Okay, Shelby, Terrence, anything else you guys want to add? Okay, so we're getting pretty late, but I'd at least like to see what Alexandra had in store for Daniette. The Bob?
Okay.
There you are.
Okay, as soon as I got over here, I would be crouching down to Daniette's level and looking over her face like, when did that happen?
When did what happen?
Your face looks a lot better after.
Oh, I think your psycher patched me up.
Yeah. Listen, sorry about that.
She'll give you like this, you're saying sorry to me look. She's not actually saying anything. She's just like, really now?
Listen. I actually liked you for the little bit that I actually got to meet you, Daniette, okay? I know this is probably not how you were hoping to find us, but listen, I'm really confused right now. I'm getting way too much information here from so many different places. I don't know who to trust. I am deeply confused, so I'm just going to go through and just try to figure out the truth of this matter for myself. Wherever that takes me.
Well, I can tell you this much. Those, what is it, 4 of them? Yeah, 4 yahoos, working for Avictus there, catch wind that you want to do anything for yourself, you can kiss your ass goodbye, because Avictus doesn't like people having free will. Doesn't sit well with them,
The bit I've been able to hear about him, I'm not that surprised. But at this moment, I'm going to ask, when was the last time do you know the last whereabouts of Mikaisen?
I told you. We were on the elevator up to the governor's office when we received the distress call from the Towering Omega.
Okay.
Mikaisen said, it's time to split up. You'll take on the governor himself, myself, Anton, and Cass. We're ordered to stand out in the city and find as many of you guys as we could, and then return to the Towering Omega to save the Inquisitor.
Okay. How exactly were we supposed to return to the tower in Omega in the first place if it's been pretty much closed down by Havoctus from what we've heard?
Well, I was supposed to be the one to help with that part, because I don't think Anton or Cass know too much about tactics. So you've got pretty good brain in that field, as I'm pretty sure anyway. Yeah, you're a fly girl. So if you get the chance, coordinate for them, would you? Because they're going to need it. They're going to need someone to tell them which flank to attack, which support vessels to take out, and which entry points to board the ship from. And since I'm not there, Cass and Anton are not going to have an easy time with that.
Yeah. Have you heard any of these rumors I've been hearing ever since this whole entire fiasco has started about the Inquisitor that Machiason's been working for has been dead for a really long time?
Yeah, of course I've heard the rumors, you idiot. And that's honestly all I'm allowed to say about it. Sorry. She gives you a really awkward smile.
Not even for the rest of this flask?
Oh, bribery. Okay. Now you're cooking with fire, so go ahead and give me a roll.
I would have thought that would be at least napalm or something that she's cooking with.
So Daniette licks her lips, looks to you. I'm rolling her willpower now. And she motions with her eyes to, come in close.
Okay.
So I'm going to send you a message.
And the message says, I can't tell you.
And she opens her mouth wide and tilts her head, ready for her reward.
Oh my.
Thank you. Thank you, Daniette. And I'm just going to just let her finish off the flask.
Okay. Okay, so she'll glug, 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 and deposit the flask in your hand if your hand's ready to receive it. Otherwise, it's just going to fall to her lap or to the floor, and she's going to give that happy drunk face.
Okay, I would catch it and close the flask. Do you know why he did?
At this point, she just got her happy drunk face on.
Okay. Well,
in fact, if you motion your hand in front of her eyes, she will not focus at all on your hand.
Oh, she just mumbled to herself, I remember the last time I was able to do that. Feels like it's been 100 years since then. Great, and she sees that, and she's just going to be... She's just going to be walking back to the group, going like, just tossing the flask back and forth between her hands.
Did you get any good information?
Pretty much nothing new about the Machiason front. The basic strategy was to gather as many space and as many ships as they could on the ground that could fly in space and try to go after that, and she was going to be the one behind the tactics. Interesting thing about Ulysses, though, I was able to get from her.
Yes?
Apparently he's still alive. He faked his death.
Talia is going to look livid, saying, no, that is not possible.
Indeed.
What makes you so sure?
I'm not allowed to say that. This comes straight from the Conclave. I cannot tell you why I know, but I know he is dead.
I'm gonna say this and ask whether it was be illogical or not. Wouldn't it be possible the Conclave may be behind him faking his death for some bigger investigation?
In which case, we would then be the bad guys for impeding that investigation.
This looks like it broke Talia's brain as you suddenly reveal to her this chestnut. She's like, no. She's saying no to herself, not to any of you.
All right, take it easy, Talia.
Out of your knowledge, Talia, has there ever been any kind of history of an Inquisitor doing this before to aid in an investigation?
It's above my grade. My connection to the Conclave. They would never tell me. I will tell you that much. I'm not that close. I've got a little bit of a connection to the Conclave, yes, but they never. How? Why? She's going to slump down against the wall.
But is the possibility there?
It's a big galaxy. There's a possibility of anything, I suppose. She kind of growls awkwardly.
Alec would then shake the flag, showing that it's empty. Danielle's going to be out of it for a bit.
Well,
That's... Alright, so would you not suggest that we do? Let me hear some plans.
I'll say this again. Machiasen is the linchpin. We gotta find him, and we got to, I don't care how hard it is, or the likelihood of getting it out of him, we need to get the truth out of him about what the hell is going on, or at least his version of the truth.
Now that's going to actually cause Talia to laugh.
Talia, yeah. True. That's a problem for the day. How do we fucking get to Machiasen? I mean, the only lead we have is maybe the governor's top of the governor's tower, because that's usually where they fucking hang out. But then what? The governor has apparently, forgive me for saying this, done a deal with Zinch. How do we could be walking into another Whitehead Tower here?
I don't know, but at the moment, that's the only information we have on Machiasen, was that he was at that tower.
We could, Shelby, but I get the feeling that would do a lot more harm than good.
Can't we track that microbead, like you said?
I've tried. Half of the information that came to, correct me if I'm right with this, PT, half the information that came to and went from the microbead went to that tower. The other half was scattered across the city.
Daniel said multiple times that he was at the tower.
So
potentially.
That means we should head towards the tower.
Indeed, it's the only lead we have.
Yes.
If we're lucky,
point to the tower. So.
Yeah. If no matter what, we're gonna find whatever we find there is more than likely going to be a trail or evidence, at least something of where we can go from next. Because if the story she said is true, we're going to find evidence of that there, hopefully. If we find Machiasen there, all the better. But more than likely, whatever we find there, is going to help answer all the questions we've been having ever since we got onto this freaking rock.
Well, unless there's anything else anyone wants to do in this lovely building, or we should make a move.
Talia is going to approach Mathras, and, well, she's going to remain calm for now, but she is not going to take any crap from Malachi if he tries anything. Talia's going to say, Mathras, use your farsight and look at the governor's tower right now. Top floor, look into the windows. Tell me what you see. Mathras is going to give a very nervous expression. Talia is going to attempt to be reassuring. What the fuck? It's always Talia. Not confirmed. Okay, so
he's interested in Talia, obviously.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. But is Malachi going to try and foobar Talia's orders to Mathras?
Like I've made it clear earlier that he understands the basic, need and utility of these powers. He doesn't like it, but he doesn't need to like it to,
But it was Malachi who said earlier, out of the church. We're still in the church, and Talia is telling Mathras again to use his powers inside the church.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Malachi would say at least as much that not in the church, outside.
Okay, at that point, Talia's not even going to look to Malachi, and is just going to point at him and say, I just confessed to having the ear of the conclave. What do you think they're going to do to you if you interfere with me? She's not even making eye contact with Malachi as she points to him and says this. So, Malachi, what's your response?
Basically just disappointed sigh and just whatever, fine. Kind of look.
And so, Mathras sigh roll, even though he's really quite nervous about this.
Also, Malachi will say to Shelby, yes, I will make sure that Terrence understands the situation fully. Dear.
That poor bastard.
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh god.
Oh no!
As soon as fucking Malachi turns his back.
Well, I did say Mathras was very upset and nervous, but Talia said, go through with it anyway. Okay, so minor effect. Food goes off and drink goes stale in a radius of 5d10 meters. Whoop-de-fucking do. So, let's see here. Alexandra is 1, Shelby is 2, Krios is 3, Malachi is 4, and Terrence is 5. Alexandra, the Bobob, you have the honors of rolling the 1d100 to find out what perils manifest.
If I roll bad, it's not my fault. It's Talia's fault for forcing the issue.
Roll 100. It could be funny.
Oh, thank God! Oh, God.
100 would have been more funny.
The Psyker screams in pain uncontrollably as warp energy surges through his unprotected mind. He must make a willpower test or gain 1d5 insanity.
It's not too bad, really. All things considered.
You have many disorders, it seems. First talking fast, then just pointing your gun at everything. Oh my god, deep breath. Indeed, what the hell was that?
I was about to offer, if I rolled anything high, I was going to offer the bona fide point to cancel the effect, if I could.
Okay. Mathras is going to collapse to the ground and say, I can't. He's watching me. He's stopping me. He doesn't want me to see. He doesn't want me to look there. I can see his eyes, all his eyes.
Oh dear.
That's enough for now, I think.
Talia was going to scream a
Terrence,
curse
shut
in
up.
High Gothic very loudly.
Dear. I'm going to roll willpower not to just go and end Mathras right here, right now, because he just started yelling. He's looking at me. He's looking at with all of his eyes. Yeah, that's not with Malachi. So yeah, he will at least start.
Okay, I was just going to ask, is Malachi giving the order to Terrace, or is he doing it himself?
Himself. He's starting to move in towards Mathras and pulling out the weapon.
Talia turns to face Malachi, Shelby, and Alex. Are we going to have to roll initiative, folks?
Well, maybe. Not yet. Let them at least try to stop him with reason first.
All right. Sorry to interrupt everybody, but Talia is going to point her finger at Terrence and say, by holy order of the Quidus Rubarian Inquisitorial Conclave, stand down now, Terrence.
Terrence has a bit of a disorder with that gun. Or gun. just everything that moves or does anything, point the gun at it. Yes, that will work. Eventually.
He's a soldier. He points guns at things. It's what he does.
Yeah, but, there should be some kind of, thought to it. Not just, oh, that's a moving target. Race gun.
There is a thought to it. It's part of his backstory.
Disorder?
Psychers creep him out. In fact, the reason he talks so fast is because of Psychers. Yes, he gets a +10, Shelby, for having a psi focus. Which I imagine she has her shield on her. So Malachi, Talia just gave Terrence order on behalf of the Conclave. How does that make you feel?
Conflicted? On the one hand, I have exact orders. On the other hand, I have what Talia is yelling. And on the third mutated arm, I have the fact that Malachi is a zealot. So, yeah, this is kind of confusing and conflicting.
Well, considering he has a mutated hand, we all know which direction you should point that hammer. Sorry, mace.
To the face. Yes, but whose face? Maybe.
Talia, if nobody else is going to say anything, Talia says, it'll be the Conclave's decision how this turns out in the end. But for now, I am assuming control of this group. Is something I wanted to avoid having to resort to. We are going to the tower. We are going to make our way up to the Lord Governor's offices, and nothing is going to stop us. We are going to confront the Lord Governor. Athris, I'm going to need you to be as strong as Shelby, because you're coming with us. I know Malachi does not like the sound of that, but Mathris...
No, I do not.
I didn't give you permission to speak. Mathris is a powerful psyker. He is young, and he hasn't had the training that Shelby has had to make him as strong of will against the threats of demons. But Mathris, look at me, and he'll look up at her, shaking, terrified as he's on the floor. She's going to creep down a bit, look in his eyes, and say, "The Emperor protects, and you have personally seen the Emperor. It's the last sight you saw, I know. But it means something. So you are going to stay with us." And he'll nod, and let's see. Very good. Terrence, give me an inquiry roll, just to see if Talia's going to answer your what. Nope, she's ignoring you, unless you want to fake that. Okay. So Talia, who's like not half the height, but she's like a good 2 heads shorter than Malachi, is going to tap Alexandra on the shoulder and just sort of ask her to move aside. And she's going to get nice and cozy with Malachi and say, "There is one thing that Daniette said that is impossible to prove wrong, is that Havictus has made this personal, and that has screwed everything up. I know that you are loyal to Havictus, but I'm giving you one choice here. Continue to follow Havictus, and I will have no recourse but to give you that Emperor's benediction, which you have been so quick to promise others. Do I make myself clear?"
For now, I will submit to your will, but I want to see what Havictus and the others have to say with this in the end.
Yes. No, I do not intend to stay away from Havictus. I will still submit to his judgment because technically I am in a very unique position as far as rank is concerned, and I do have to answer to him eventually. But for all intents and purposes, we suffered the perditions of a great unclean one, only to come here to discover that a cult of a rival demon may already have taken root in another government hive structure. This planet will be saved. On my life, I will do what is necessary to uphold mankind's destiny. And I will not allow demons to jeopardize what the Emperor has laid out before us. She'll take a deep breath, stand erect, and kind of just put her hands together in a sort of steepled position.
Malachi will slowly put the mace away.
Thank you. Once again, I'm not happy about this, but I do it only because it is necessary. And I want all of you to understand that we were incredibly lucky in that other tower. And I can only pray to the Emperor that we will be that lucky again, come what may in the other tower. And Mathras has all but confirmed our greatest fears, as I only know of one ruinous power that has more than two eyes. And that she'll quiver as she says that particular phrase.
Well, let's get this done then. Good thing is, I have a quick way for us to get to the tower.
Yes, assuming. Never mind.
Sorry, Fungi, you said assuming...
Well, Chris was going to say, assuming there isn't a greater demon living in it.
Not a
he
joke
cut
to
himself
make.
off.
Yes, okay.
Well, find a place to stash down Dianette. Let's head to the Valkyrie.
And I think that's where we're going to call it a night for this evening.
Uh-huh.
Well, thank you very much for GMing that, as always.
Thank you guys for being my players. And as GM, I didn't want this to come to this point as Talia, because I don't want the leader of the party to be an NPC. But just it was a bit of a perfect storm, because I was going to have Talia just ignore so many things because of her own revenge. But you guys forced her to face it, and in facing her own demons, this is what happened.
Yeah.
Well, we still don't know yet if Talia's going to survive to see the end of this, or whether she will be put in charge of us.
I know that Jess is going to burn all her fate points to keep Talia alive, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder what would have happened if Malachi wouldn't have stepped down or aside.
And you may have seen a little something that Talia keeps secret on the other side of her personality.
I will say, as a character, it's kind of Alex is kind of awestruck to finally see, well, Talia grow a spine and stop being so submissive for all the situations we've dealt with, for the most part.
Not that she's
most of it-
submissive.
She's just
that-
been along for the ride.
Not even that. She does
Think
not
about
like to have to be the one responsible for so much. She has her interests of getting her revenge on Mikaisen for what he did to